Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. This is the English translation of the Majlis of Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb Damat Barakatuhum, which took place on Sunday, the 27th of Safar 1444, corresponding with the English date 25th of September 2022. This Majlis took place after the Maghrib Salat at Madrasa Qadiriya, Masarwala, Sarmor, Himachal Pradesh, HP. Hazrat Wala starts off this majlis by quoting the ayat of the Quran Majid, Alam nashrah laka sadrak. Thereafter, Hazrat Wala goes on to say that your addressing his audience there, your ta'alluq and your connection is with that of ilm. Kun aliman, aw muta'alliman, aw sami'an, aw muhibban. Become an alim, or a student, or at least listen to their talks. Or, if not that, at least love them. Now I understand that I have all four categories and groups of people that are mentioned in that particular narration here in front of me, and that is a great sense of fortune and sa'adat for me, that I have the opportunity to pass on the words of Allah and Rasul. It was said to me just now that I should say some few words. At that time, I was just busy on the phone with Maulana Taqiyuddin, and he was telling me that he has received some high position, mansab. From all of this here, I gather that even now at this point in time, for ilm deen, there is so much of qadr, so much so that the people just don't want to leave him. They are attached to him. They don't even allow him to come back now to his own country. So, in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there is so much of qadr and appreciation for this knowledge. First of all, we should make qadr and appreciate, and we should thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us this. Now, la yulhimuhu illa su'ada, will not be inspired to this knowledge except the fortunate ones. Now, what a great fortune it is to be in this line of deen, in whichever way it is, even though it may be making arrangements for the carpets, or even making arrangements for ink and pens. All of them would be included in this great fazilat. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, all of this is written in his Risala. Who are we? We have to understand our own status. Our category, age group of people, youth, where are they and what are they doing? It is our great fortune that Allah Ta'ala has gathered us here. And greater than that the fortune is that it is the knowledge of Allah and His Rasul that we are being given here, and Allah Ta'ala also give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making amal on it. We should really appreciate this here. It is something of a great honor. You know, on one occasion, we went for the Jalsa in Darul Uloom Deoband, and thereafter we went to Hazrat Maulana Masiullah Khan Sahab. And it was the time after Maghrib, and Maulana was speaking on this topic. He stood and he spoke with so much of passion, and he spoke on the point that we should not be caught in this web where we suffer from an inferiority complex. Allah Ta'ala has given us such a great privilege, and we are so honored to be studying this deen. Now the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, خيركم من تعلم القرآن وعلمه. The best amongst you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it. Now to start off with, we have to have aqidah, and we have to have complete conviction in this. We have to understand this. I went, Hazrat Wala is saying, to Aligarh, and then I started telling the people those who were there, speaking to them about this hadith, خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ. And I told them, so long as you do not have the Islamic ilm and knowledge, then you cannot be regarded as khayrukum. And I told them that this is the statement of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, teaching us that who is the most superior and who is the best of all. Allah Ta'ala has gathered us all here. So to start off with, we should have conviction and faith in this year and understand what our status is. Understand what is the great daraja of Quran and Hadith. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to say that, tell me, can a person who is studying Quran and Hadith ever be foolish or a fool or stupid? Allahu Akbar. The problem today is we are not studying Quran and Hadith properly and correctly. So this year will be the fault of none other than ourselves. So we have to see all the conditions, the prerequisites when we are studying this ilm, so that we can achieve and gain genuine knowledge. Now, I actually came here with this riwayat here, that لا يكون العالم عالما حتى يكون فيه ثلاث خصال, that an alim cannot be an alim in the true sense until or unless he does not have within him three qualities. لا يحتقرن من دونه, he should not look down upon someone who is junior to him. You know why? The person who is junior to him is under him, who doesn't know as much as he, then he should take this person and he should push him forward. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to tell us, Hazrat Wala is saying, that if he would see a person or a student who does not have a great capacity, isti'adad, a capability, he would say, help him so that he can also rectify that and move forward. And then the second part, وَلَا يَحْسُدَنَّ مَنْ فَوْقَهُ, and he should not have hasad. This alim, the second quality that he should have within him, he should not have hasad to someone who is greater than him. Because if he has hasad towards such a person like that, he will not humble himself in front of that person. And if he does not do that, how would that person, how would that senior ever put his tawajjuh on him? And if this doesn't happen, then how would he ever achieve ilm and knowledge? Allahu Akbar. Can there be a greater type of miserliness that a person doesn't share the knowledge that he has? Because wealth is wealth. And that's a different topic of the miserliness of wealth. But the miserliness of knowledge and ilm, our akhirat will become destroyed. And it was on the basis of this ilm and knowledge that Adam alayhi salatu wasalam was blessed with vicegerency and khilafat here on earth. Even the malaika accepted and acknowledged him because of the ilm and because of the status Allah Ta'ala gave to him due to ilm and knowledge. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to quote an incident of a student, a talib ilm, and wherever he used to go, he used to bring up such questions to his teachers due to which he used to fail them, meaning they could not answer. So nevertheless, wherever he went, he did not humble himself. So how would he and how will he achieve anything whatsoever? And then Hazrat Wala quotes some couplets, which actually means that we should ask if we don't know. We should ask if we don't know. And if we don't, we will gather within us nothing other than a huge treasure of nothing other than ignorance. Allahu Akbar. Imam Bukhari rahmatullah alayhi has mentioned in his Sahih about knowledge will not come to a mustakbir and a mustahi. A mustakbir, a person who's proud. Mustahi, a person who is shy. So Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahib used to actually say that the khulasa of this is that it's actually only one. Because the person who is not asking because he's shy, actually that shyness is coming from where? It is coming from, it is nashi minal kibr. It is also because he has too much of pride. That's why he's becoming withheld. He's shy to ask. So it is coming from pride. So Allah Ta'ala bless us with sahih ilm, because it is from genuine ilm that is achieved that true practical and amal would come about. It is written in the kitabs regarding some of the ulama, they say that in the initial stages they acquired knowledge and they express a niyat and purpose at that time was so that they could get dunya. It was for dunya. However, ilm refused, and rather it turned their attention towards the akhirat. So Allah Ta'ala has given us a mawqa, an opportunity. I have written and compiled and put together, Hazrat Wala is saying, the Aqwal Salaf, it is in 11 volumes. Make dua that Allah Ta'ala makes this the means of my salvation tomorrow in the Akhirat. So, we should not waste our time in futile activities. And in this Aqwal Salaf, I have written so much, you can go through it, about the adab and the etiquettes and how the ulama lived their lives. So, for knowledge, there is a great need for taqwa. Now Allah Ta'ala Himself speaks about this. وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَيُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهِ. Fear Allah, and Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala would teach you. If you fear Allah, if you adopt taqwa, it is then that Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala will give you ilm. Now, Saheb Maraqi al-Falah Tahtawi has mentioned this year in his kitab. So actually, it is ilm is restricted to taqwa. Taqwa par ilm murattab hai. If you have taqwa, it is then you will be granted this knowledge. Disobedience, sin, ma'asiyat is something which is terrible. Allah Ta'ala protect us, protect our eyes, protect our ears, protect our tongues. Today, ghibat, backbiting, complaining has become so common. Al-ghibatu nuklu majalis salihin. Imam Ghazali has written that backbiting has become this food, this type of a dessert, something which is actually looked forward to in the entire meal. It has become that of the Majlis of the Salihin. Now if this has happened to the Majalis of the Salihin, ghibat, then what can we say after that? Allahu Akbar. And when a person backbites, the ronak, the splendor and the beauty, the new nur of the heart of a person is then erased and removed. And what about this namima, slandering? What is it? Or carrying of tales, namima. What is it actually? It is naqlul kalam ilal ghayr ala wajhil ifsad. It is to pass on talk from one side to the other side with the express intention of causing mischief and corruption. And we all know an-nammamu fasiqun, that a person who slanders or who carries tales is a open sinner. Now Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we learn from his hadith, Su'ila Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and who could have asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam this question? It was none other than the illustrious Sahaba. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was asked, an akthari ma yudkhilul jannah, regarding that which by means of people, of which people will enter into Jannah in abundance. in droves and in scores. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do you think that there was any weakness, deficiency, or that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam had to open up some kitab to give the prescription? No, not at all. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the answer. Taqwa Allah wa husnul khulq. The fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and good character. Now this was the khas amal that was shown in this hadith, teaching us that by means of this people will gain entry into Jannah in abundance. Now Ibn Qayyim has mentioned by means of adopting taqwa, a person will fulfill the rights of Allah, and by the means of adopting husnul khulq and good character, a person will fulfill the hukukul ibad. And by taking the two and putting them together, a person then will become a salih and a saintly pious person, and the salihin, saintly people of this nature, would then be granted entry into Jannah. Allahu Akbar. In another hadith, we learn Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions, "Ittaqillaha haythuma kunta." Fear Allah wherever you may be. Wherever you may be, fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَاتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ, and follow up a sin by a good deed. Hazrath has mentioned that if the sin is committed after Isha, then don't wait for the time of Tahajjud to make tawbah. Rather, at least say Subhanallah. At least say Subhanallah. So, when you follow up a sin with a good deed, tamhuha, the good deed would then erase that sin. وَخَالِقِ النَّاسِ بِخُلُقٍ حَسَنٍ, and come across to people with the best of character. Now, ittaqillaha haythuma kunta, fear Allah wherever you may be. That is the right of Allah. وَأَتْبِعِ السَّيِّئَةَ الْحَسَنَةَ تَمْحُهَا, and following up a sin with a good deed, that is also the right of Allah. And the last part of that of good character with people, that is hukukul ibad, the rights of people. Now, you look at this hadith, just like the hadith I quoted to you earlier, both have hukukullah and hukukul ibad. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create within us the eagerness, the thirst and enthusiasm to create within ourselves taqwa. Allahumma aati nafsi taqwaha wa zakkiha anta khayru man zakkaha anta waliyuha wa maulaha. Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Saheb used to make tashri in this manner, Allahu Akbar, that the ayat of the Quran Majid is teaching us qad aflaha man zakkaha, that indeed has achieved success, the one who has purified it. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has restricted success to the purification of the soul. And then he would go on to say that how can we purify our souls? Allahumma aati nafsi taqwaha, that oh Allah, you grant piety to our nafs. وَزَكِّهَا أَنْتَ خَيْرُ مَنْ زَكَّاهَا, and you purify it, for you are the best who can purify our nafs and our souls. أَنْتَ وَلِيُّهَا وَمَوْلَاهَا, you are the guardian, you are the owner of our souls. If we are sahib nafs, we are those individuals next to the nafs, then you are malik nafs, you are khaliq nafs. Oh Allah, you also have that haqq. Rather, it is so much of abdiyat, servitude, expression of extreme humbleness in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, oh Allah, you have restricted success to the purification of the nafs. Therefore, oh Allah, I can't purify my nafs. You purify my nafs and my soul for me. So, this ma'amala of islah and purification, a person hands it over to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when Allah ta'ala sees this here, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps a person in purifying his soul. Another ayat of the Quran Majid, and another example of this sort and type I can give you. Allahumma aslih li fi dhurriyyati. Oh Allah, grant reformation and rectification to my progeny. Allahumma aslih li fi dhurriyati. Oh Allah, I can't even make my own islah. Where will I be able to make my islah of my children? Therefore, you grant salah, you grant reformation and rectification, salah, righteousness. You grant righteousness to my progeny. Now this was the extreme and the heights of the servitude, the abdiyat of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. You know, I went to reunion, Hazrat Wala is saying, and there was a Naqshbandi Sheikh. He was the Pir Bhai of Maulana Zulfikar Saheb. And he took me in solitude alone, one side, away from everyone else. He took me and my Mahbub. And then he started asking that you people say that you are Naqshbandi, but I don't see any tawajjuh that you people do. I don't see any tasarruf that you people do. And I can't even understand this here from your Sheikh, Maulana Muhammad Ahmad Saheb. Nevertheless, I went on to explain to him. And I said, listen, the theme, the thought, the ideology is all the same from all the Buzurgan-e-Din. However, the tariqah, the andaz and the style is most definitely different. Our Buzurgan-e-Din, Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Saheb is saying, I explained to that Sheikh that when people used to sit in their Majlis, such a type of a kayfiyat would overwhelm the attendees of that gathering that no person could after that stand up from there. He would wish not to stand up from there now. Allahu Akbar. And not only that, from the side of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, waha taqsim hoti thi. There was a distribution of nur, ma'rifat, nisbat. And there was no istifada there. There was no istifada there that a person went there and he tried to benefit from the sheikh. No, rather there was ifada. There was something that was distributed there from the side of the sheikh. Allahu Akbar. Nevertheless, he liked this type of an explanation that I gave to him and he acknowledged it. वो उन्होंने पसंद किया और मान गए. तो ये चीज़ भी आना चाहिए. Now these things which I'm discussing should also come in our lives. Zahiri ilm, this external type of knowledge we have, so the zahiri amal must also come, and the batini ilm and the batini amal should also come. One we have is salat, right? We can see salat, we can understand it, and together with that, look at something which is batini, something which is internal, that is tawazu, humility, tawakkul also. Now, our ulama have written one of the greatest fears in this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is da'wah, this false claims. Now, where is this false claim? Can you see it? Can you understand it? No, it is something that is hidden in the heart of a person, and if a person goes to the sheikh, he actually catches this here and he understands it and he picks it up from the murid and the disciple, that take this out of you. Now Hazrat Haji Imdadullah was not even an alim in what we say the istilahi, in the terminology. But if we look at it, those four great Jibalul Ilm at that point in time became subservient to him and took bay'at at his hands. Hazrat Maulana Tanvi Saheb, Hazrat Maulana Rashid Ahmad, Hazrat Maulana Qasim Saheb, and Maulana Muhammad Hussain Alahbadi. They all came to him. Now what can we say about that person who's got his earthen pot connected to the ocean? Allahu Akbar. Do you think there can be an end to the water that will come into his earthen pot? Allahu Akbar. Due to which you see these great alims all came and sat down and started drinking from the fountain of Hazrat Haji Imdadullah. Hazrat Maulana Qasim Saheb used to say that everybody went to Hazrat Haji Saheb because of his amal. I went to him because of his ilm. Nevertheless, these are all the talks of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab. I mean, he wasn't a mujaddid, but most definitely I can tell you so much, he was the naib of that mujaddid, Hazrat Tanvi. Maulana Wazir Sahab was there, Maulana Rabi Sahab was there. Maulana Wazir Sahab, we were all at the hospital on one occasion. Hazrat Maulana Qamar Uzzaman Sahab is saying that, so he said at that time that बगैर मौलाना शाह वसीउल्लाह साहब के मलफूजात के पूरी इस्लाह नहीं हो सकती है. That without or in the absence of the malfuzat of Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab, he says, in this day and era, a complete and total Islah cannot take place. Now this was the impressions of these great personalities as well. So they would pick up now the faults, the weaknesses of the nafs. They would make islah of it. They would take a person to task on these things. So nevertheless, whatever I said a little bit now here, I'm sure it was something for the talib ilms, for the students here as well, and also for the salikeen, the seekers of this path, the seekers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who walk this path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us understand the masail of this tariq to Allah and the adab and the etiquettes. Allah make us acquainted with it. Give us the tawfiq and the hidayat of making amal so that we can get and achieve the nisbat and the muhabbat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This nisbat, this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, nisbat sufiya, ghanimat est kubra. That this connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a great treasure. You know, when Allama Ibrahim Balyawi came to Allahabad, and I mean, it was such a moment, historic moment in the history where Allama comes from Darul Uloom Deoband, and then he comes and eventually, at that time, he even closed his safars. He could not even travel at that time. But he came for this one reason, and he bowed down in front of his student. He gave his student knowledge, but now he came for something else. In that time, in their khutut and their letters, Hazrat Maulana Shah Wasiullah Sahab writes to his ustad, and this is one of the things that he had written, that nisbat-e sufiya ghanimat est kubra. That the nisbat of the Sufiya is the greatest treasure. It is a very, very great treasure. Hazrat Khaja Masoom Sahab used to say that I'm actually surprised, I'm amazed, rather I'm in denial. I can't even understand how is that person alive who doesn't have the nisbat and the muhabbat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his heart. So start from this youth, start from now, and so that it can be such that the day when we go with something. We go with the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah ta'ala, give me the tawfiq, give my awlad, my progeny and zurriyat the tawfiq, give my murideen and those who are affiliated to me, connected to me, the tawfiq and the hidayat of understanding and recognizing this path, this tariq to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah ta'ala give us the tawfiq and hidayat of making amal. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم وتب علينا إنك أنت التواب الرحيم بحرمة سيد النبي الكريم صلى الله عليه وسلم.